evening. Welcome to our latest franchise wars, where we dissect a series of films and decide which is. Sometimes we say which is the best of the best. Sometimes we say which is the least shit. And I think we're going to be going on along that lines tonight as we talk about the Alien. This is called Alien Anthology. So it's the first 4 proper Alien films before it went all silly and they brought Predator in and then did Prometheus, which didn't make a great deal of sense and was a bit crap. So let's kick it off.
Look, I like silly films, so...
Yeah, I forgot.
I also did like Prometheus. But...
You like Prometheus?
I did.
Oh, God.
And also Alien Covenant. That was quite good. Again, you're going to disagree, but this is what this whole thing's about.
We could do
the
a whole...
only one of the newer ones I've seen was Alien versus Predator, which was like...
Oh, that's
bad,
awful.
but like enjoyably bad.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just exactly as ridiculous as I expected from this. So it met my expectations, so that was fine. I haven't seen Covenant or Prometheus.
Prometheus is really interesting, and I know we will talk about the original films in a minute, but in a nutshell, Prometheus is where the human race has become imbecilic. And
oh, it's about 2020.
Surely as cavemen, we worked out as we ran, we could run sideways, and if only the person in Prometheus could run sideways, that's what spoils it. It's just shit. Anyway, let's talk.
And nobody thought that anybody could do a worse job of prequels than George Lucas, but that shows you how to do it, mate.
Well, it's better than Revenge of the Sith.
I still like it. You'll have to talk me out of it.
Right, let's talk Alien. So, I think we love the first film, don't we?
Yeah. It's been so long since I watched it, and I think I've only seen it once, and I'd kind of forgotten it. But in this, like watching it, and I will admit, I'll say from the outset, ahead of talking about all these 4 films, I was doing other stuff while I was watching them, so they didn't have my full attention. I need to give them all a closer.
You can get away with that with Alien.
But Alien, I was kind of doing other stuff, and then some bits were like really great, and I was like, shit, I can't believe I'm missing most of this. So I got up early the next morning to watch it again. So yeah, no, I really liked it. I think Alien, more so than the other 3, it is actually, I would regard it as more of a cinematic movie, if that makes sense. I feel it's the one that's most very much going for the look. I mean, there was some close-ups that were like intense, that were just really, really nice shots. And I liked that. I think I liked the sparsity of the music in it. I think that worked really, really well. I think it's brilliant that it was made in 1979. I think that's for that year, what it did was really, really great. And yeah, I see it as more of a cinematic thing than all the other ones.
For me, when I was a kid, I thought the first one was shit because not much happens in it, and I thought it was quite boring. And Aliens and Alien 3 and even Alien Resurrection, I thought were better films. But I watched all 4 again a couple of years ago with my daughters, and Alien. When I watched it properly again, now I'm older and appreciate the themes and the tones.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It was before, I wasn't bothered about watching it. If I wanted to watch an Alien movie, I'd put Aliens on just because of people with guns and killing aliens. But the way, it's not a sci-fi movie, so that's the mistake that's been made with the sequels.
Yeah,
it is
correct.
Intense horror movie.
It's a horror film, the first one,
Which
yeah.
is actually set in space. We've got a bunch of what I would call fisherman trawlers out in space instead of being out at sea, and instead of it being Jaws, it's an alien, and it really, really is. It's now I'm older and I can appreciate it far better. It just blows the other 3 out of the water. Really does.
And what did you think? Oh, God. He likes Prometheus. Oh, shit.
The first film The atmosphere is fantastic. Cinematography fantastic. So Ronan's right there. Too slow though. Not much happens, and then everything happens.
But that's a classic horror film.
Yeah,
trope.
that's.
And the problem you've got there, Ant, is you clearly haven't grown up yet to appreciate it.
Oh no, I appreciate everything. I watched it with my 14-year-old son, and he found it hard to watch it all the way through. He said, "Oh, it's too slow. There isn't. It needs to have a few more points of interest along the way." But it's a fantastic film. Cinematography you couldn't argue with. I wouldn't put it as my first one though.
See, I wouldn't have done 4 or 5 years ago, but now I'm afraid it is.
Well,
In fact, I would go so far as to say, when you're watching the Alien movies, I would separate this and watch 2, 3, and 4 as a trilogy, and this as a separate entity, because so many of the themes come on board with 2, 3, and 4 that wasn't even there with the first one anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the first one was totally setting the scene, wasn't it? It was a introduction of a new race.
I think. I think you're right. I think the first one does do that. It is a horror film. It has got the suspense. It's dark. You shit yourself. And the only time I've really done that now, has anybody played the film Alien? Is it Isolation on the Xbox? And I played that, and then I watched the film again. I was like, God, yeah, I'm hiding in this cupboard because there's a xenomorph outside, and I am shitting my pants. It's brilliant. Where Aliens takes it for me is it gets all those themes, the same ending, everything, and dials it up to 11. Because what you really wanted in Alien was you wanted to see more of the alien. You wanted to see more people being killed. You wanted to see Bill Paxton. And thank goodness you got all that. For me, I love Alien. Aliens just beats it. And it's got one of the best lines in cinema history, with Ripley just going, get away from her, you bitch. And you can't tell me, no matter what age you are, male, female, you just look at that and go, that's amazing. She is a badass.
This is where we're going to disagree, shock and horror. But Aliens, for me, is what they did is they took the best bits of the Alien, which is Alien, and said, right, then what we need to do now is have loads of aliens and call it Aliens, and have loads of action and make it a typical 1980s action movie, and just lost all that sense of horror and isolation that you were talking about. It's a completely different film.
Totally. With the same ending.
Yeah.
It's an action sci-fi film, whereas the first one was a suspense horror.
Did you not hear the klaxon for days afterwards, though?
Bryony summed it up perfectly when she was in the middle of watching the film. And at the time, let's work it out, she'd have been 10, 11. And she says, it's okay, but God, they die a lot easier in this one, don't they, in the last one? And that sums it up. That the element of fear of these aliens is eliminated in this movie because they've got big fuck off guns and they can shoot them. And there's loads and loads and loads of them. And the alien itself isn't the same threat as it was in the first one. They are gun fodder. They are battle droids from episode 1. That's all they are, and it's a shame. And they have to bring the Queen into it to bring that element of fear and horror and how we're going to stop it.
Yeah,
and for me,
have a big
necessary character.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, like I said before, when I was a kid, that was my go-to Aliens movie, because what I wanted to see was people with big guns machoing out and shooting loads of fucking aliens. And if you go back to the video games, there's another alien game called Aliens Colonial Marines, and you literally run around with a gun blowing the fuck out of loads of aliens. It's like playing the film. In fact, the film Aliens is a setup for video game movies. Video games, it's just the way it is. And it's dropped down a lot, in my appeal, even the special edition, because they throw so many of the elements of story and things that could really tie it all together for the sake of let's kill fucking aliens as many as we can and look at us and let's put bandanas on and let's our muscles and all that kind of shit. It was
Did
one
somebody
step
say
away
they
from
liked
alone in it, and that's a shame.
So did somebody say they liked the Hudson character?
Well,
Bill Paxton.
I love Bill Paxton, but I just love Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton's
I think for me with
really
Aliens, I got really into it. Like, I think my favorite thing was the fact that it started with so much action, like right off the bat, and like right from the outset, it was a different film, and I didn't mind that. And we'll discuss it more in the rankings, but I really enjoyed it for the reasons that both David and Mark have said.
Sorry, this is 2 or 1.
But if we're ranking the franchise as a whole and how the movies make me feel and the way they are shot and the story and everything else, for me, Aliens has become the weaker one as I've got older, as opposed to the.
I mean, I can see how, but I absolutely see how, but I still loved Aliens when I was watching it. Like, I think it's the first time I've seen it, and like when it came on, even though I was doing other stuff, I was like, oh wow, that's fun.
That monitoring gizmo when they're working out where they are, where the proximity of them are, and that's bleeping, and it's quiet, and they're all in that room, and it's quiet, and it's just bleeping. And they're working out where they are, and you get all your suspension need right there, and then they work out they're in the ceiling. That's amazing. That's brilliant. You can't. It's a great film, but it is a totally different film to Alien, and I think that's where
it's a shoot 'em up.
That's where then they really sort of turned it on its head. So you got Alien. It was humans didn't know what we were dealing with. Aliens, send a load of Marines in. And you're right, Mark. Let's weaken them. In Alien 3, what they took was one alien and no weapons. Now let's try and deal with that. And you went back to that suspense and you know, stick him in on that prison colony was a brilliant idea.
I mean, Alien 3 gets a lot of stick from people because they wanted more.
They wanted guns, yeah.
And we do get more of the same, but more of the same of the first movie.
Yeah.
There is a lot of elements of this that feels pretty much like the first one, but putting them in a situation where they know what's coming because Ripley's telling them, and they've got no weapons. It's a load of blokes who are basically Christian criminals, and they're trying to focus on what is it they actually want to do. Do they want to kill it? Do they want to embrace it? Do they know what they want to do? Where they are and where they're going? But there's a woman here as well. There's the urges of, do I want to shag a woman or do I want to kill an alien? It's like,
these are the choices they have to make.
Want to do.
I forgot how good Alien 3 was.
Which version of Alien 3 did you watch? Did you watch
I didn't watch the director's cut. I'm happy to watch the original edition.
Theatrical release.
Yeah.
See, there are slight elements, and originally it was going to be coming out of a bison or a bull, and it was a slightly different design of the alien in the movie, and it's a bit more fierce than it is when it's the dog one running around. So there's that in it, but that's the only real big difference. And when she dies at the end and the alien pops out, there's a little bit of a change there because she accepts it more so than she does in the other one. But I've got no issue with Alien 3, and for me, I prefer it to Aliens because it goes back to that tone.
You see, I agree with that. I agree that it went back in terms of tone, but I don't think it went back in terms of style. I think in terms of like the cinematography, I think it just felt more Mad Max than anything else.
There was lots of steady cam on the floor, wasn't there? So there was lots of shots up the faces like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was lots of that going on.
See, I've
Yeah,
got no-
I didn't.
I've got no-
I didn't think it was as visually compelling as
No, it's
the
not.
first
And
Alien.
the isolation's not there. But I like that what you're saying about it's got that Mad Max feel, because what you've got is a load of nutters in a prison who've clearly got mental problems because they're rapists and killers and everything else. And that there is that Mad Max element to it because they are all fucking nutters.
Yeah.
And I think that comes through. And again, when I was younger, didn't appreciate it the same. Didn't appreciate it the same way, and the turmoil that all these prisoners are actually going through in the mental state. Don't think of stuff like that when you're 10 or 11 or whatever, and stuff. And now you watch it 30 years later, it makes such a great film, and it's more of a sequel to the first one than Aliens is. Fucking fly, get them on tits.
I do like the death scene's pretty cool as well, isn't it? Let's pour molten metal on it, and then it comes out exoskeleton absolutely fine. Then they turn the sprinklers on. That's how you kill an alien when you've got no weapons. Superheat it and then cool it down. And I mean, I'm trying to work out. So I think you're on with me with Aliens being better. But what about Alien 3?
Alien 3, liked it. It's a bit too light, as in the alien always tends to hide in dark places, and then this one, they almost seem to turn the lights on too much on it. Again, it's showing that they can now show it. So in the first one, probably didn't have that much to spend on it. You were more scared of what you didn't see. And then they've really tried to push through on stuff that you do see. And some of the cut scenes of the spaceships in space, I don't think I've seen anything so bad in all my life. But some of the docking spaceships are like, sort of the hand that's holding the ship to dock it onto the thing. That's you're like going, oh, okay, not quite as impressive. So you can see where they've spent the money on, obviously recreating the xenomorphs.
Yeah.
The interesting twist that they do on this, and what a lot of people don't appreciate, is with the first one, there's the sense of dread. They don't know what they're facing. They are being picked off one by one. In the second one, they know what they're facing. They've got big guns to take them on. They're going to fight it out until the death. With this one, they are literally having to make the choice to sacrifice themselves to bait the alien in.
Yeah.
And that little bit of a twist is they know what's coming. They know what it's going to do to them, and they're having to bait themselves. He isn't appreciated in a way, really. It's a sacrificial film. It's a human sacrifice film. It's self-sacrifice by prisoners, and it's quite deep, that is.
And there's obviously lots of subplots, like we know that Ripley's got one inside her. So lots of subplots going on, and lots of reasons for doing things.
And you got the Whaling Corporation coming at the end and bringing the real life human Bishop who has his face caved in.
Yeah. And he seems to cope with that rather well.
His ears off at a right jaunty angle, isn't it? At the end,
and he's just chatting normally.
Just going, don't do it.
I'll feel that tomorrow. Meanwhile, Ripley, come on, don't make a mistake. I want that what's inside you. Alien 3 is a good film because it does return to that. I just love Aliens, Mark. I just love Aliens. It's brilliant.
I don't dislike it. I think it's a great movie. We're doing a comparison of the franchise, and for me now, as I'm older, it does less for me than the other two do.
I think James Cameron got it so right. Let's dial it up to 11. Let's absolutely go for it. But you still had all those elements. You still had the suspense. You still had the frightening bit. But the only criticism I can agree with you with, is they shouldn't have weakened the aliens. And I said this when we've talked about things previously, is when they go through films and they make the main antagonist worse, they cheapen it, and they shouldn't do that. You know, the alien was the ultimate killing machine. That comes out in Prometheus, doesn't it? You know,
out of the three films
absolutely evolved as perfection. And in Alien, it's perfection. It is a perfect killing machine. And they spoil it in Aliens by making it very, very fallible.
Gun fodder.
Yeah.
And I also
The only bit I don't like about it.
when you look at the three movies as well, you Alien and Alien 3 hasn't dated the same way as Aliens
Yeah.
has, because Aliens feels like a 1980s action movie with the dialogue and the way it's shot, whereas Alien, the first one, is timeless because they still make films like that out in space. That sense of isolation now, it has dated, and Alien 3 hasn't dated so much, but Aliens is very much a film that is a sign of the times. You can see the 80s through it, like it cuts through it like a knife.
And then, bizarrely, some dickhead decided to make something called Alien Resurrection. Now, as much as I love the first three, this is where it all started to go wrong, and this is where you've got franchise for franchise sake. What an abomination Alien Resurrection is. I mean, it just is a mess from the beginning, isn't it? Ronan, you must have...
Yeah,
I've got a feeling you might have enjoyed this because it was so bad. You love bad films.
Yes, closely. Yeah. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it because it was tellingly like bad compared to the other three, but I'll get this off my chest right off. That basketball scene. Woohoo! Fuck me! That's what they needed. Because I was like not too long ago watching Catwoman, which also has an odd basketball scene.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work out, are there any more movies with odd basketball scenes that absolutely serve no value whatsoever?
Yeah.
So I think my favorite bit was the basketball scene because it was just like the greatest shoehorning of a pointless scene into a movie. Like, could they not have just like run into each other? Like, it's a spaceship. There's not that many people around. You'll bump into somebody and have a few words. No, they had to play basketball.
Yeah.
And also,
so that was impressively weird.
In a little fact for you, a little trivial fact for you, you know that dunk shot where she just throws the ball from behind it?
Yeah. Did you do that?
He did that first take, total fluke. First take, she did it. And if you watch Ron Perlman's face, he literally can't fucking believe his eyes. It's great. The problem with Alien 4, Alien Resurrection, it suffers from an identity crisis because it tries to do a bit of all the three films that have come in the past, from action and isolation and fear and sacrifice, all those things I'm thinking about, and it doesn't know what it wants to be. And the biggest problem with that is that this is Joss Whedon's fault, because he wrote this fucking thing and it's his fault, and we all praise the Whedon, but this is what he needs a slap, because he didn't know what he wanted to do with the film, and it loses its path.
Yeah.
The idea behind it is great, that them bringing her back as a clone because the Weyland Corporation wants that alien so badly.
Yeah.
But the execution of it is fucking awful. Really is. And
it's almost as though they had actually finished the film and thought there won't be a sequel in the others. So it's now a tenuous link to how we're going to get it back on track and how we're going to build the next film, where we're going to start from.
Yeah.
Let's make it so there's an egg on the spaceship. Where did that come from?
It does end like that as well. It's like they went, should we just finish here?
Yeah.
It's just so, it's such a weird ending. It just goes, I know, well, should we knock it on the head? No, yeah. What do you think? Oh, I don't know. I've never been here before. Credits? Okay. There's a number.
They wrote themselves into
But in all the films, it's almost as though they're not expecting the budget for the next one. They're almost expecting it to be the end, and that's
the actual fact was they was hoping to do Alien 5 with Winona Ryder taking over the role of Sigourney Weaver and fighting more aliens, but because it bombed so bad, that never occurred. But shoehorning
nobody else can be Ripley.
The alien newborn baby thing into it, that is painful to watch as well.
It is. I mean, that is a low point. When you look at these four films and you talk about dated, I mean, considering that Alien Resurrection was made 1997. It's low. It's like ooh, yeah, that sort of cock-shaped thing with eyes and a sunken, like a really cheap skeletor with no. Yeah, it's just awful. Winona Ryder is terrible, just awful.
There's two outstanding things in this movie, though. Firstly, is aliens swimming around. That looks great. You can't take that away from the film. That is nice. But Sigourney Weaver's performance of a half-breed clone of herself, I think she's cracking in this.
Yeah.
And she really shines through. Just shows what a good actor is, because she is Ripley, but she's not, and she does it so well.
She made the best of what was given to her. I'll give you that, because Winona Ryder didn't. You know what this suffers from as well? What do we say about aliens? And you said they became suddenly fallible and expendable. They've got aliens in glass cages, just doing experiments on them and squirting them with. Let's just weaken them. That takes the edge off it. These are the ultimate killing machines.
Yeah.
The weakness is
They're
nothing.
also the cleverest things in the world, because they always manage to sneak onto the only spaceship that's leaving the planet at that moment.
Survival of the fittest. I can believe that. An intelligent life form. I can go for that. I'm all right.
So in Alien 3, where does the egg get on the ship?
They don't. They've cloned her from a blood sample or something, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's 4, isn't it?
Yeah. There is no
They
egg.
got Dr. Henry Wu to...
So in 3,
Yeah.
is it 3 or 2? Which one does Newt die in?
That's 3. She's
That's
dead in
3,
3.
okay.
So the face hugger.
There's an egg, and it sits on like a metal frame, and I'm thinking, hang on, the Queen lays eggs. So how did the Queen get on the ship to lay an egg?
No, there was a face. I think there was a face hugger. Yeah, I mean it's a plot hole, isn't it? But the face hugger's got 2 or 3 of them, hasn't it? And then Hicks, I think, gets killed because he got a bad wound anyway, and they have to destroy it and have to cremate him. And Bishop's been.
Well, I think
destroyed.
it must have been Hicks that got in. The alien got into his pod.
Yeah.
Because the girl hasn't got one inside her, and she just.
See, I thought she did. I thought it had got. I thought the facehugger had got inside Newt's.
No, they did the autopsy, didn't they, and found nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
So it must have been Hicks's that got the infection, the facehugger, but they couldn't tell because part of the frame had broken off, and So another hole in the plot. Yeah.
And how did he get it? So how did he get inside Ripley then?
And they put it there. Is what I figured, because they were controlling it so much in the lab.
Because that's not been revealed, has it? In Alien 3, she's got the alien inside her, and that's why the xenomorphs don't kill her, because they realise that she's carrying the queen baby.
Yeah. There is lots of plot holes. I think we're picking plot holes, aren't we?
Still a great film.
I think that's a whole other show.
I'll tell you what. With Alien Resurrection, we have got Alien Resurrection to blame for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Rambo 4, Rocky 6. The idea that the franchise is dead and they don't need to bring it back, give it 10, 15 years and we can. And that's got a lot to answer for. Because this was the first one to do it.
I know obviously we're going through order and we're picking our favourite and our least favourite. But would you not agree that at least all 4 films are watchable?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're all watchable. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. But there's a definite contender for the last one.
Oh yeah, totally.
And the
Alien Resurrection.
And I think it's the first 3 we're arguing about it, really.
Alien Resurrection is shit. It's watchable, but it's shit.
Yeah.
It's one of them films you have to watch after watching. If you're going to watch a franchise run, it's not a film that you could put on and watch on its own.
No, agreed.
You're sort of watching it. Is that how they finished it? Ugh. Whereas I quite like the end of 3. I think they should have ended it at 3. Tied up all the loose ends. She's killed. She's dead.
Could have and it should have.
It was just so unnecessary. It really was. It was like the pod race scene in Star Wars Episode 1.
It's just a
Totally
shame that
unnecessary.
Blowkamp hasn't been allowed to finish off the franchise properly with Alien 5 because he's now dead in the water. And that was all set to possibly go, that was. A couple of years ago, and it's just died after Chappie bombed.
So we need to decide. This has been.
There's a few standout roles in 3, though. The almost spiritual pastor of the prisoners.
Yeah.
Standout role. I mean, he's sort of.
Pete Postlethwaite.
Again, I agree with Mark. The sacrificial role bit. He ultimately sacrificed himself to get the alien, but I think that role was one that stuck with me out of all of it, really.
But that's what you said, isn't it, Mark? You like the fact that it's sacrificial. It's these guys who've got nothing. You know, they know it's going to kill them because Ripley's told them this is going to slaughter you all. You've got nothing to defend yourselves with, and yet they manage to, sacrifice themselves for the greater good of a bit more time, so they can try and kill it.
When he comes out with his stick and he beats them all up and says, "I've got to re-educate the brothers." I thought that was brilliant.
But it really is the mirror opposite to Aliens, where there's millions, there's thousands of them and they're armed to the teeth and, they just shoot it. One of the bits that really galls with me in Aliens is is it Vasquez? She's got one of the xenomorphs under her foot and she just shoots it in the head like it's nothing. That galls on me. And I love the film, but I was sort of going, really? You just put your foot on its head and gone bang, bang, bang? No.
Yeah.
Come on. It's armour plated.
Hello, you're frozen.
This is another contender movie for Ronan's Team America. Didn't get it really. That's
How many Team Americas would you award it?
Oh, definitely a 7 or an 8 out of 10.
I love it. It's a great film, but
the motherfucking day, yeah.
But I do get that it's a different film to Alien and Alien 3.
Hello.
And we can hear you, mate. You're not moving, but we can hear you.
Frozen in time.
He has. Right. We are. I think he's dropped off now. We are coming up to the end of our first conversation. So what we'll do, we'll finish it there. When we come back, we need to rank this. Oh, this has been so sedate without Martin.
I've got nobody to call a prick.
And we are back.
Yay.
Thank you very much. Right. So we need to rank these. So Ant's just made a comment as we were in interval. You said there's definitely an order and Mark's wrong again. Well, it wouldn't be for the first time.
No, I'm always right. Everybody else is wrong.
No, most of the time you're full of shit. You'll never be forgiven for comparing Batman and Robin to Guardians of the Galaxy. Now we're talking low points. We're talking human, alien.
So this is the fundamental problem with having to talk and deal with plebs most of the time. Is the lack of understanding of what I was trying to
work
say.
from home interacting with 4 human beings and have done for the last as long as I can remember. You don't deal with normal people, so do not try and convince me.
Precisely the point I was trying to make.
Oh yeah, you've got the same thing. I've just realised I've never seen the bonus features.
Yes.
On the popular Blu-ray format for those who want to know how we watch it. Okay, I'm going to kick things off. My ranking goes as follows. So I love Alien and Aliens for 2 very different reasons. There's a few bits that gall me in Aliens, but it's made up by Ripley wearing an exosuit saying, "Get away from her, you bitch." That for me is just some of the pinnacle of sci-fi making. So I don't want it. I don't want that criticised. For me, the ranking goes 2, 1, 3, 4, and 2 and 3 are very bloody close. 2, 1, 3, 4 for me. Ant. Well, let's not go to the month first. Let's go to you, mate.
We're going for 2 as my first one. Again, it's difficult between 1 and 2. It really is. 1 sets the scene, 2 continues the story. But I find 1 a little bit slow, and that bloody klaxon, you hear it in your sleep. So 2, followed closely by 1, followed closely by 3, and then 4 is my order. But
We have agreement.
I'm sure Mark's ready to educate us.
Yeah. Let's not go to Mark first, because you can see him chomping at the bit, ready to start going, I want to say my bit, what you say wrong. Ronan, come on, let's keep the sanity going, mate. Hang on, he's muted. Hang on. There we go. I'm pressing unmute myself. Hang on.
Okay.
There we go.
So yeah, no, I actually agree with yourself, David, and with yourself, Ant. I would say 2, 1, 3, 4, and again, 2 and 1 are absolutely neck and neck. And essentially, for me, 2 is the action, 1 is the cinematography. So yeah, I mean they're very close to interchangeable, but I think 2 probably wins ahead of me because I do distinctly remember it capturing my attention from the outset because it was the action. So that's why it's whereas 2 caught me from the outset. It was a while into 1. It was like maybe half hour from the ending of 1 where I was like, shit, this is actually really good. I should have watched. I should have been paying more attention. And that's why I watched it again. But 2, I was more focused on throughout, more engaged with throughout. So that's why it wins for me. So yeah.
Brilliant. So that's Franchise Wars. Thank you very much. Do we give him a platform? Do we give him a platform? Come on, Mark. Give us your ranking, and we'll tell you why you're an idiot.
1.
Okay.
Is first. Then 3.
Yeah.
Then
Don't go 4
2.
next.
Then 4.
So 1, 3, 2, 4 for you.
Purely from the fact I'm a bit 3 and 4 are a bit neck and neck.
No, they're not.
For me. No, let me explain why. Because for me, the Alien franchise is it should be about the superiority of this new species and how humans are so ant-like in comparison. So it's like
that's fine of you. Ant-like. That's good.
A human stamping on an ant, feeling, and that fear and dread is there with 1 and 3, but it's not there with 2. 2 is an action movie, but it's not in the same feel as what 1 and 3 is to me. So that's what brings it down. In fact, 4 displays more of that feeling of what the franchise is to me than 2 does. But 2 is a better film because the way it's made. So 1 and 3 are streets ahead, and 2 and 4 are neck and neck, but 2 beats 4 purely from the quality of the movie. But for me, if I want to sit and watch Alien films and I want to do a back-to-back, I'd do 1 and 3 and miss 2 out. 2 is a great film. It's watchable on its own, but it's one of them that is just too much of an action movie and neuters the aliens too much for me for what I want to see. So
yeah, I get that.
That's what puts it there.
I get that. I mean, you're wrong. Your ranking's incorrect, and Aliens is the best one of the 4. But you are entitled to that.
Aliens by James Cameron's own admittance is not an alien movie. It is a action-packed movie of commandos fighting alien beings. He doesn't categorize.
Yes, great. It's great, isn't it? It's bloody great, isn't it?
Now you're talking about sacrifice.
Fantastic film.
It is a good film. I don't dispute that, but we are talking as part of the franchise itself. If we was going to put the film Aliens in an action genre category, and we had things like Commando and Rambo and Aliens in there, it'd be right at the top for me because it is a cracking action movie. But as part of this Alien franchise, it does not hold up against 1 and 3 for me. And like I said before, they make these movies specifically for me. And if it doesn't hit the notes I'm looking for, it comes down in the franchise categories.
Don't you think, as the Alien franchise moved on, you know, you had Alien versus Predator, so they evidently wanted to move in that direction. I thought, let's keep this character, and then of course they did Prometheus.
The problem you've got with Alien versus Predator, they took two great ideas, put them together, and killed the fucking thing stone dead. I mean, the second one is absolutely fucking appalling. The first one is watchable, but they just are. You don't take an idea that you've done in a comic book and try and put it onto the screen. Just ask Marvel.
It never works. It never works.
Yeah, Groot on the screen, never. I don't know. I think for me, these are the definitive Alien films, and I get what you say about 1 and 3, and actually, if it had come out that 1 and 3 were slightly better than 2, I wouldn't have lost a lot of sleep, because I just think in their own merits they are great. It's just too tips it for me.
But going back to what I said,
because of the quality of the film, and stuff happens just non-stop.
Going back to 30 years ago when I was 11 years old, 12 years old, and Aliens came out, it was and it is a fucking cracking film. And it was the go-to movie for me to watch aliens being killed and slaughtered, and it is great. But now I'm older and I watch them again, I get a lot more out of the first one. I get a lot out of the third one. And the second one has become very disposable because of what it is.
Mm.
And it's very much a movie of its time as well now.
Maybe do you think of 3, you know, it's got those themes of sacrifice and hopelessness and whatever. I mean, you know, when we all talked about Rambo when we did Rambo a few weeks back, and we said actually they probably wouldn't make Rambo anymore because this is a guy with severe mental illness. Yeah. And if you think of 3, it almost trivializes it. He's a rapist. Oh, but he's done the right thing. You know, I don't know. There are some uncomfortable bits in there, which I know you think probably makes it quite interesting, Mark.
Yeah, it does. I see. It's to do with age, and as you get older, and the themes that are underlying that you just don't spot when you're a kid. And we are talking about a franchise really that was out and about when we were kids, and we watched them more so when we was kids. Well, me anyway. And as I've got older, the dynamics and the way the films are put together. I mean, the first one, 1979, they could have made that last week. It looks that good, feels that good, and it's got a proper cinema feel to it. It does. It's not dating at all.
No. Yeah. It's up there with Jaws for me. You know, you take that. Okay, yeah, you look at Jaws and the shark's crap, but that really wasn't the point. You know, you catch yourself looking at a bloke's head coming out of the water. You catch yourself at 2 notes, and for me, you're frightened of Alien because, as you said, Ant, you don't see much of it. You know, whereas you're a little bit tired of seeing them. By the time you get to Alien Resurrection, you're like, oh, there's another Xenomorph.
Well, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but then they throw in a great basketball scene, so...
yeah, if you're into your basketball,
all is forgiven.
It is such a shame about 4 because the idea isn't that bad.
It's just a mess.
The execution is fucking appalling with it.
Yeah.
Such a mess.
They should have made a basketball movie out of it.
Yeah, they should. Xenomorphs can't jump. That would have been a good film.
I would watch that. I would watch that.
Taika Waititi could have directed that. Yes. That would have been awesome. Yeah.
I wonder if Alien Resurrection suffered from Starship Troopers and how that was at the time, because what didn't they come out the same year and the one before the other?
You'll have to check, because was it Alien Resurrection was 97?
Yeah.
I'm sure
it was around that time, wasn't it?
And I wouldn't be surprised that if on paper initially this was a cracking film, this Alien Resurrection, but because of how successful Starship Troopers was, it just changed the dynamic of this film. It must have done.
just finally on.
Well, there's
on
lots of films that have split off this franchise, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's things like, is it Splinter that's the girl who lives in the barn?
Yeah.
And she's got superhuman reactions, and she's a hybrid between an alien and a human. So lots of films have taken things from it. Species, yeah. And I think there was a few different films, like Splinter rings a bell, but I would have to look into it. But there's lots of films that have gone that sort of honed clone type spirit, and
there's one called Splice,
and it always goes wrong, doesn't it? It always goes wrong.
Yeah. Species. Now there's a franchise. Wow.
Well, so as always, majority rules. So sorry, Mark, but you know what? I take some of your ideas on board, and I don't hate the idea that 1 and 3 are better than 2. I hate the idea that 2's close to 4 because that's just ridiculous. But yeah.
But they're all ultimately watchable films.
Well, yeah. Well, I think in the main they're great films.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've also
as 4-film franchises go, like it's a lot more solid than some of the other franchises we've watched. I mean, the Rambo ones spring to mind as being having 1 great and then 4
Die Hard.
Well,
Die Hard.
1 film, 2 sequels, and 2 art projects. So I
Die
think,
Hard was the same.
I think this is, like, even when you look at the flaws of 4 in particular, it's still a very, very solid franchise overall. It's probably the most solid one we've looked at overall.
Yeah. Well, I mean, other than Back to the Future, because Ronan, I think, when Martin and I did Back to the Future, we struggled to pull it apart.
No, I did Back to the Future as well.
Oh, no, it was Indy. It was Indiana Jones, Martin and I did, yeah.
I didn't do Indy.
Yeah, I think Back to the Future is probably the best, you know, the most solid franchise we've got. And it's probably because it was 3 films out.
Yeah, and I think, like, and as I said in the Back to the Future episode, the reason it was so solid was because it was always planned for 3 films.
Yeah.
And it stayed at 3 films. And it was what it was intended by the creators from start to finish. There wasn't a cash-in sequel like Resurrection was, like 4 Rambo movies were, like Batman and Robin was, like
Indy.
All of the Transformer movies were.
Yeah.
So that the strength of Back to the Future lies in the fact that it was always planned as being 3 movies.
Yeah. And isn't it funny how Indiana Jones, you know, following 3, it was Please Leave It Alone, and then they did Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Which was still better than Temple of Doom.
Alien, though, is what we got to remember is we would never have had this Alien movie if George Lucas hadn't have had a hit with Star Wars.
Yep,
because space was a no-go zone for movies, full stop. And we've got a lot to be thankful for. And also, when you look at Alien now, the first one, and the way it's made, it is in so many films now moving forward, the way they are shot, the way they look, the way they feel. Every space movie now feels like the future that what's his name, Ridley did with Alien. That every movie we've got, they all feel that way. It doesn't matter what you watch, even if it's something as simple as The Martian. It's got that look and tone of a future that he created with his film, and that hasn't gone. Nobody's changed that.
Yeah, and it's and we should all reconsider how we feel about the elderly, because Ripley's been in hyperspace for about 400, 500 years by the end of this film, by the end of the quadrilogy. So we shouldn't be looking at it the way we are.
In fact, it's the only movie to actually have real time travel in it, because she does travel through time. We need to do a time movie.
We do. I think now we have decided on our ranking, so it goes 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. I think was the agreement. So that's that
Which
franchise done.
I'm happy with that, because if you it's like my argument, what I said earlier, if you take Aliens out of the equation because it's not really an Alien franchise movie for me, I've got to agree with 1 3 then. So I can live with that.
Okay. So we've got an agreement. So thank you to Ronan, live from New York. Whoa! Thank you to Munt, live from Brierley Hill, and thank you from Ant, who stuck with us and didn't try and bring Philip Seymour Hoffman into it. So we have a ranking. I did have to bring that up. We have a ranking. We will stop now. See you again soon.